beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
My Lords, the UK is a world leader in addressing forced marriage with our dedicated forced marriage unit. Schools play an important role in identifying and responding to the needs of victims and potential victims at an early stage and making referrals to the police and social services. Our statutory guidance, Keeping Children Safe in Education, makes clear all school staff should look out for and safeguard pupils against this life-changing criminal act.
My Lords, I'm very grateful to the Noble Lord the Minister for his supportive remarks, and thanks to colleagues throughout the House for wearing the pin for the charity Karma Nirvana. My Lords, forced marriage isn't about culture. It is about being criminal. And many schools take the threat to girls as young as 5 years old not seriously enough, or as part of their safeguarding responsibilities. So I wonder if the Minister could please consider making Ofsted responsible for measuring this element of safeguarding. And would colleagues throughout the House consider themselves invited to join Jasvinder Sangera, the founder of Karma Nirvana, who's sitting in the gallery over there, in marking a tribute to the 25th anniversary of Karma Nirvana at 3:30 in the Ackley Room.
Well, I thank the Noble Baroness for that. And can I say also that I have heard of the good work that Karma Nirvana does with schools and of its campaign for an annual Day of Remembrance. But I also very much appreciate the amount of support that the voluntary sector in general contributes to supporting victims and potential victims of forced marriage. We do believe, however, that a collective response is the way forward, and I will certainly take note of the point that she's made about Ofsted. I'll take that back.
Would the Lord agree that such cases need not always be forced, and that any education or warning should be general and not just directed at those of Asian heritage, as I'm aware of at least one case in Wales where a young girl was offered the holiday of a lifetime in Bangladesh and returned home to Wales not only married but also seeking to bring a husband back.
Well, indeed, there are several cases that can be highlighted, and of course, as the Noble Lord will know, there is a difference between arranged marriages and forced marriages. The main focus is on forced marriages, when children, often young children, are taken away without their consent. So it's an important issue that we're looking at closely.
My Lords. Whilst the Forced Marriage Unit is a joint initiative of the Foreign Office and the Home Office, of course there is also focus by the Government and much spending through the Department for International Development. So could my noble friend the Minister outline whether those ministers and officials are also inputting into this unit, as there does seem to be a correlation or at least an overlap between the countries where we're spending money through DFID to avoiding local girls and women being forced into marriage and those countries to which UK citizens are at risk of being taken to?
Well, the Forced Marriage Unit is very much a cross-departmental exercise. It is a joint Home Office and Foreign Commonwealth Office unit that sits within the FCO. Its work overseas is accountable to the FCO and is measured against the Consular Directorate's strategic priorities. But can I reassure my noble friend that responsibility for this policy is with Harriet Baldwin? And so there is a top of the pyramid for this, and I think that's important for having a cohesive policy.
My Lords.
Grateful. My Lords, would the Noble Viscount, as well as paying tribute to Karma Nirvana, pay tribute to the work of Freedom Charity and its founder Anita Prem, a small organisation but one which within 6 years has visited 120 schools, has touched the lives of many young people, boys as well as girls, who need education in this area. This year they're also working with airport staff to alert them to the signs of people being taken away for forced marriage. Will he take very seriously their suggestion that there ought to be an audit after this summer's holidays to establish both the extent of the problem and also areas where we need to target resources?
Well, the Noble Baroness has made a number of points, and I take her point about having an audit, but the Forced Marriage Unit does indeed monitor very closely now this issue, which is an abhorrent issue. But can I also say that the Noble Baroness alluded to this, that the unit is working very closely with the Border Force, and the whole idea behind the spoon and the spoon emblem is that if children understand the concept of having a metal spoon that they can hide as they are taken forcibly out of an airport, out of the UK, the pinger will go off and they will be taken aside on their own, and hopefully a case will be highlighted.
My Lords, it was about 15 years ago almost that my committee recommendation brought into place the forced marriage unit. Would the Noble Lord tell the House what impact he feels the unit has made in reduction of forced marriage cases in this country? And would he also, alongside members of this House, not only pay tribute to Karma Nirvana, but also Southall Black Sisters, New Asian women's organisations that have relentlessly worked on these matters for over 25 years?
Well, I said earlier that I wanted to highlight a number of charities that work together on this important matter, led by the FMU. But can I also reassure the Noble Baroness that there have been 3 convictions since we introduced the new forced marriage legislation in 2014, 1 in 2015 and 2 in May 2018. And the first of these convictions resulted in a 4.5-year sentence with a maximum of 7 years. So we believe that can be quite a deterrent.
My Lords, victims of this particular crime find it very difficult often to come forward, because by coming forward they know they will be implicating their parents. And we know that schools, police and other agencies that have been mentioned have worked very hard over many years to protect young people. But there have been examples where local authorities haven't always been responsive enough to protect young people. So can I ask the Minister, what assurance can you give that all children's services will also be alert and intervene appropriately when there's strong evidence of children at risk?
Well, the Noble Baroness will know that local authorities have ultimate responsibility for monitoring children, but there's much more work that is being done within schools, and it's very important indeed that all young people are equipped to have a healthy, respectful relationships, including particularly how to keep themselves safe. So there's a lot of work going on within schools, teaching them what is appropriate and what is inappropriate behaviour, and particularly about informed and freely given consent.